Our mama, she lived life her way. She had a rare strength that was as strong as it was fragile, like a Prince Rupert's drop. Her creative power was her life force. It was a source that always bloomed from within and showed up in so many forms from without. I think she would agree with Robert Henry, the painter. The object isn't to make art, it's to be in that wonderful state which makes art inevitable. Her creativity showed up in so many different forms. Early on, singing and playing stringed instruments, cooking and canning, sewing with Grandma Dee, telling stories, writing, cultivating roses in beautiful gardens, sketching, weaving baskets, pottery, photography, painting, fiber art, and so much more. She always sought the unusual, seeking beauty in everything she saw, like artichokes and Mongolian hot pots and rare little known places in Mexico, and her beloved Southwest. She befriended many people. She had an intelligence and wit that so many people knew and appreciated. A great love and appreciation for the written word. During her lifetime, she and her beloved Jerry of 58 years provided leadership, strength, and courage to students, teachers, and communities. They served as community activists, teachers, and stewards of nature. She definitely had a lifetime of love with her beloved Jerry. I will always choose to remember my mama for her boldness, strength, and ability to see beauty everywhere. Mama, may you always walk in beauty.
Peggy, busy, busy hands, quiet, direct, kind, thoughtful, and yes, very, very bright. I met Peggy when her and Jerry returned from Harvard with twins. Peg was into building lemonwood furniture, soaking lemonwood to her specifications. When I was about 65, Peg was now deep into quilts, vice president of the International Quilting Association, and of course, she made me a quilt to cover the hole in my couch. The quilt was also um, covered all space. Then came the next adventure, watercolors. She got good at that. What an unbelievable talent. I miss her.
In 1971, I was 19 years old, and I was going to Wayne State University, and I was taking a creative writing class. And the professor told me that I couldn't combine fiction and nonfiction. It had to be one or the other. And I was telling Peggy about that, and she said, "Oh, nuts. They're crazy." So when we went down to Mexico, I wrote a version of Mark Twain's Roughing It about our trip to Mexico. That was really fun. And now I'm a podcaster, and I tell stories about life. A nice mix of fiction and nonfiction. So, thanks, Peg.
Michigan visits were always full of different art craft projects. Everybody, all the kids, whoever was friends, family, whoever was with us. We could be making felted animal sculptures or angels made of stones we collected from Sturgeon Bay,
or taking fun classes at Three Pines Studio, like German wax stars. That's probably one of my favorites. But also, she insisted that I finish a project that I started 18 years ago, and it was stepping stones from all the years of collecting, 18 years of collecting little stones in Michigan, and so we made them all, including my sister Jennifer, my mother, and my father and and we made, I think, 8 of them, and then we laid them out in the garden, and, she wanted it finished. So Jenny and I dug out the sod after and placed the stones in, and then next to the stones I put my garden angels.
She wore a cherry red coat and enhanced her glowing complexion. Constructing the universe with paper and paste, another teacher's progress, a staggering dimension, was attached by her boundless energy, even though she saw no end to the mess. Giving to others is always her object. Marriage has produced countless more projects for the two teachers bonded by love.
Upon waking each morning, my thoughts reach out to you, my dear sister Peggy. I feel your support and love and contemplation. Peggy, I remember you as my big sister and treasure your love and support of me and my accomplishments. Your intelligence and incredible giftedness have blessed us with much happiness throughout the years. I love how your community activism has helped so many. You have befriended people who have grown because of you and your influence. And now your wonderful creative spirit through your art continues to flow throughout the universe.
When Peggy retired, she began delving into the craft world. And if I remember, she first made magnificent reed baskets and soon decided to become an art quilter. So off she went with her Bernina to get quilt instructions from who else? Nancy Crow in Ohio. I was really impressed with her. And soon she was a prolific and a wonderful art quilter. And she became an amazing watercolorist and also a beautiful knitter. I miss my fiber artist friend very much, but I will always cherish the wonderful years that we shared, and I'm so grateful that her memory stays alive in her work, but also in our shared granddaughters.
Art brought out the best in my mom. And as a result, probably my favorite memories are of creating art with her, being part of her creative process, and was what was beautiful. As a kid, we were always crafting, making candles in sandboxes, or sewing on my grandmother's old sewing machine, or knitting. She was always game for any idea I had, like how can I make hand-holding mittens where two people could hold hands. There's no pattern for that, but my mother made it happen. We sewed my wedding dress together. It was, of course, I couldn't find what I was looking for, so my mom said, let's make it. We put 3 different patterns together and sewed this beautiful dress out of raw silk and silk chiffon. My mom called it the Chinese jigsaw puzzle.
One of the things that stands out to me when I remember Grandma is how she could create beautiful art in so many different mediums, even ones that she had never used before. One kind of silly memory that I have is when Grandma, Marissa, and I were playing Pictionary on the Wii. The game came with a drawing tablet that fit the basic requirement of drawing 30-second stick figures, but it was certainly not a high-tech model that an artist would use. The game flew by, and once it was over, Grandma asked if she could just free draw with the tablet. I found an app on the Wii that she could use, and within literally 5 minutes, the screen was filled with a sea of blended blue and green colors, and a forest of squiggly black trees dotted the landscape. Marissa and I were both shocked that Grandma could create something so beautiful with such basic, and in my opinion, pretty hard to work with tools. I think we said something along the lines of, wow, those are some pretty cool trees, and she just brushed it off as nothing special, but I still remember that Wii drawing to this day.
February 3rd, 2002. My darling Peggy, we are about to enter our 50th decade of marriage. Time remains incomprehensible, elusive, and oh so precious. I look upon our purchase of a range as a symbol of our commitment to this new decade of marriage. I'm so proud of all you have accomplished this past year. Your art and your commitment to the environment are inspirational to me. Your culinary artisanship remains a joy. No one deserves a great range more than you. Your photography and photo albums will provide precious memories for our children and grandchildren. The travel experiences and family moments have been the great joys of my life. Happy anniversary, Jerry.
Peg was such a creative force. Her creativity came through in everything she did, from the color choices in her home to what she wore to all the amazing artwork that she made. There was always something new going on at the Keeney house. One thing that I loved about her was her creativity in her cooking. She always had the most amazing recipes from all ethnicities, and she would create the calendar of what she would make for a dinner for a month and put it on the refrigerator. And as a teenager, I would go to the Keeney house and stand in front of that and basically want to come back every night for dinner.
have a lot of memories of Peggy. I knew her a long time. What stands out most about her was her compassion, her creativity, and her nurturing spirit. She was also really generous in her creativity. She shared her interests in Native American culture and her travels to Mexico, her love of traveling, her love of cooking and gardening and art. And she was accomplished in so many areas. She could paint, she could draw, she could sew and crochet and quilt. And I saw her do this for a long time. And I'm just so glad that when she retired, she was able to really dive into those interests. And I can't believe that she had 400 works of art. One of the things that I remember most about her was that my mother would always say to me when I was bored or upset, she'd say, every day can't be a big day. Every day can't be extraordinary. But with Peggy, every day kind of was. You'd go over there and she would be interested. She'd be doing something. And it's the way she lived her life, and it's what made her special. And she was always interested in what you were doing. She was just a generous, wonderful person. I can't wait to see all her artwork. Love you, Peggy.
My memories of Peggy are all about her creativity and all the beautiful things that she made. Several years ago, I started a program at Texas Children's Hospital, and I wanted to have a quilt that would be hanging in the recording studio that we created there. And I asked Peggy if she would consider putting a quilt together for me. I gathered fabric and I had the children create images on fabric, and the name of my program is called Purple Songs Can Fly. And so I sent her all the fabric and she received it all, and she said, well, Anita, do you think you would consider another color? I don't really like purple that much. And it was so funny because, this was all about purple. And I said, well, no, Peggy, this quilt needs to be purple. And she said, okay, I'll do it. And she made the most beautiful quilt that is hanging in the hospital and has been there through all these years. But the funniest part was that after she finished the quilt, she said, you know what? Purple kind of grew on me, and I actually like it now. So thank you, Peggy, for sharing your creativity with me and for all of us who knew you, and especially your beautiful children. We will miss you.
Walk in Beauty, a Navajo Blessing, one of my mom's favorites. Today I will walk out. Today everything unnecessary will leave me. I will be as I was before. I will have a cool breeze over my body. I will have a light body. I will be happy forever. Nothing will hinder me. I walk with beauty before me. I walk with beauty behind me. I walk with beauty below me. I walk with beauty above me. I walk with beauty around me. My words will be beautiful. In beauty all day long may I walk. Through the returning seasons may I walk. On the trail marked with pollen may I walk. With dew about my feet may I walk. With beauty before me may I walk. With beauty behind me may I walk. With beauty below me may I walk. With beauty above me may I walk. With beauty all around me may I walk. In old age, wandering on a trail of beauty, lively may I walk. In old age, wandering on a trail of beauty, living again may I walk.